Hello guys, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning guys. If you can hear me, please drop it in the good morning guys. If you can hear me, please drop it in the comment. Let me know if you can hear me guys. Good morning from this end. Okay, you are welcome, Patrick. First time here, you are absolutely welcome. We are happy to have you here also. Good morning guys, good morning, good morning, good morning. If you are new here, just drop it in the comments that you are new here. Drop it in the comments, let me know if you are new. Okay, and of course you know how we do it. If you've always been on this live session, you drop the asset you want me to analyze in the comments, and the most mentioned assets is what I am going to be picking from. And take note, we're going to be dealing with majorly synthetic indices because this live session is basically for synthetic indices. We're going to make provision for currency pairs live session as soon as possible, but for this session it is basically for synthetic indices. Okay, so just drop the asset you want me to analyze in the comments, and I am going to be picking from the most mentioned assets. So I'm going to be starting with the first one before we mention the assets you want us to analyze. So I'm going to be picking the first mentioned one here, which is volatility 251s, and that is what we're going to be starting with on this live session. So this is 251s, and of course you know that we get started for our analysis on the higher time frame, right? So this is 24 hours time frame. What are we seeing on the 24 hours time frame? It is super obvious that market is trending to the upside. Market is giving us a consistent higher high, higher low, and we've not had a visible or reasonable change of character to let us know that we want to start pushing to the downside. So we're going to be marking our last break of structure, which is to the upside here. This is where we'll add our last break of structure. You can see it here, which automatically means that until market breaks this low, this is 24 hours time frame, until market break this low, we don't have any reason to start looking for a sell continuation until market truly breaks this low. So whatever sell you're going to be entering from this level, it has to be a retracement, right, until this low is broken. So you don't want to get caught up in the middle of a retracement that is not really visible yet. So we're going to be taking our time to look at it, if this retracement, if we can join up this retracement. But the first thing is I'm going to be marking out area where it is likely for market to come back to, right, for this buy. Area where market is likely to continue the buy, that is if the buy is going to continue. So I'm going to first mark that place out. We have this untested level here, you can see it here. Above it we have fair value gap, so that is why I am picking this particular place as an untested zone. So I am expecting market to come back to this zone and give me a change of character if we're going to continue the buy setup. But are we going to wait until market comes back to this area before we actually pick a trade? If it takes us to wait, we can actually wait if our retracement is not really visible. So I'm going to be going to our mid time frame to see if the retracement is actually visible. So look at what we have here. where market is currently reacting from is not really a good area for me. This area is where we are reacting from currently. It's not really a good place for me for market to sustain it to breaking this high. So here is what I am going to do. I am going to tag this as an internal change of character. This is an internal change of character. You can see that we had good impulse to the downside. I'm going to tag this as an internal change of character. This high as my inducement. I'm going to be marking out this high as an inducement for me. Then I am going to be marking out this point of interest. This is another block actually, not a sponsored candle. So for people who has been asking the difference between sponsored candle and other block, if I were to mark out my sponsored candle, I would have marked somewhere like this, which is the origin. But this is actually an order block, and you can call it an interest candle also, whatever you call it. We are just marking out this untested point of interest. However, this untested point of interest, you need to still remember that we are trading retracement, right? We are still trading retracement, so we need a solid confirmation before we actually just jump into the market. So what the confirmation for this asset here would be market breaking this low. This would be a perfect confirmation for me that the market wants to use that point of interest, you know, to break this low, and this low. This is an inducement for me for this range. I'm expecting market to come back and break this particular low. So when this low is broken, which is going to be a confirmation for me that this point of interest is valid, I just want to get a small retracement. I want something like this. I want something like this, a change of character. I want a retracement. Whatever time frame that you want to use between 30 minutes and 15 minutes time frame. So let's have a change of character, then we have a retracement, then we're going to have that continuation to the downside. So that is my outlook for volatility 25-1S currently. So I'm going to be picking the next asset. What asset should we continue to, you know, make analysis on? So let me see from the comments. Let me pick one from the comments, okay? So we have volatility 75, we have volatility 25 mentioned more. So let us go to volatility 75 first, and let us see what market is currently doing. So we're going to go to 24 hours time frame. 24 hours time frame to see what the market is doing. So it is very obvious on this 24 hours time frame that we have a constant movement to the downside. Market has been giving us a constant lower low, lower high. So whatever trade we are taking has to be to the downside. And if you're going to be taking a buy, it automatically means you need to fix your mind on the fact that it is a retracement. So let's look at where we had our last break of structure. That is what is going to help us determine where market is most likely to come back into. So we have a break of structure to the downside. This was where we had the last visible break of structure, and you can see that we have distance and momentum. Market gave us impulse to the downside. So number one, I'm going to be expecting market to come back to possibly this breaker. This is my first view of where market is going to come back to that particular breaker because of that distance and momentum. I just want to see market at that breaker, give me a confirmation, and we're going to continue. But we cannot wait until market comes back to this area. This is 24 hours time frame, so we can obviously not wait until we come back to that particular area. So we're going to see if we can actually join the retracement, right? Let's see if we can actually see a visible break at retracement and how we can use that for a continuation to the upside, just taking the retracement. However, it has to be a visible break. So look at where market is currently. The first thing you need to take note of is that we are still inside this range. Market is still ranging. It has not given us a visible break to the downside, and it has not given us a visible break to the upside. So we are reacting at this 4 hours candle, which is not bad. If market had broken this high, then we would have looked out for a very good buy continuation, but we've not broken it yet. And also, based on what market is giving, we've not broken this low also. So I'm going to be marking out this low as a target. Let's mark out this low as a target, and let's mark out this high. Let's mark out this high, right? So it is either market comes back to break this low, or we come back to break this high. So let us look at the last internal structure real break here, and I am going to check that on the 2 hours time frame, because this 4 hours time frame is not giving me exactly what I want, right? So let us look at this 2 hours time frame and our last internal break. So this is our last internal break to the downside. Where market is reacting from is actually very valid. This is like a sponsored candle for this range, so it is valid. So we have to be very, very careful here. As much as you are looking at where market is likely to go to, you need to look at where market is currently coming from. So this is our last internal structure break. The only thing that will invalidate this sell setup is if market breaks this high. That is what is going to invalidate this sell setup, and it is going to confirm that where market is reacting to currently is a perfect area for us to continue that buy. So number one, based on this move of this market, it is most likely for us to come back and break this high. It is very likely for us to come back to break this high, coupled with the fact that this high is a weak high. This is a weak high. I'm not expecting you to hold this sell movement. You can see that we have like an invisible double top here. Let me zoom it in for you guys to see. You can see that weak. That is like a double top. So I am not expecting it to hold this sell. So what are we going to expect particular move? So this is what I am expecting market to do. I want something like this to happen. Let us have a break, and you can see that every other places has been properly mitigated. So of course we are going to use somewhere around there if market gives us that impulse. So I want to see like a visible break with a body candle, not with a wick. I want to see like a very good break with an impulse. Then we're going to just look out for that retracement, and we're going to continue that buy movement. But currently with what market is doing, I'm going to advise that you stay clear of the market. This is 2 hours time frame, so it is still an intraday setup. I'm going to advise that you just hold on and wait for market to give you a proper confirmation, because there's no proper confirmation for a buy and there's no proper confirmation for a sell here. So you don't want to waste your money in the market. So let us wait patiently for market to give us that break of that high, break of this particular high, give us a little retracement, and then we're going to continue the buy until market breaks this particular high. So that is my current view for volatility 25 index. I hope you guys are still following. I need your comments in the comment section. I need your comments in the comment section if you are still following. Drop a comment, say following. Either you drop a fire emoji or you drop following. I need to know if you guys are still following me, if I am not just making analysis for myself. So drop a comment that you're still following me. So I'm going to be going to the next asset, which is volatility 25. Okay, that is also the most mentioned. And then when we are done with volatility 75, sorry, volatility 25, we're going to go to volatility 75 1s. If you're still following, drop a fire emoji or drop a comment saying following. Okay, I need to be sure I'm not alone, guys. I need to be sure I'm not alone. So this is volatility 25. So let's go to higher time frame. So volatility 25 on the higher time frame, it is super obvious that we are in a bullish trend right now. Market has given us that break. If you check some of our live sessions, we predicted this by a long time ago. Like, we predicted this particular buy just happening a very long time ago, and we expected market to come back to this range and make a continuation, you know, to the upside, breaking all of this. So let us look at what market is currently doing, and that is going to help us to confirm where we're going to be looking out for a sell or a buy continuation. Now, if you look at this, I made mention of it in our live session, our last live session, that until we break this high, we are not looking for a buy continuation. So right now we've broken it, and it was broken with an impulse. So what we are expecting, our target is for market to come back and break this high. So we need to look out for a continuation where we can possibly break this high. So I'm going to be going to 4 hours time frame, and I am going to be marking out the last internal structure break on the 4 hours time frame. You can see that we already marked it out on 24 hours time frame, but we need to look at the last internal break on the 4 hours time frame. So this was the last internal break. Now, based on what has happened on the 24 hours time frame, it is most likely for market to come back into this zone, but we're not going to be looking out for that yet until market is giving us a deep impulse movement for a sell. So we're just going to be working based on this 4 hours internal structure break. So we have impulsive move, right? We had this high broken impulsively. So I am not expecting market here, except if we are going to come back and break this low. I'm not expecting this market here anytime soon, because this is a very, very impulsive move. Like, the impulse was so much. So I'm not expecting it to come back to the sponsored candle. If market comes back to this zone, it is most likely we clear these lows. So the POI I'm looking out for is this breaker. This is the breaker I am looking out for. I need market to take out this low as an inducement. I'm going to zoom it in now. This is like the inducement I am looking out for. So I'm going to be waiting for market to come back to this breaker in alignment with this interest candle. In alignment with this interest candle for a continuation, but we're not going to be waiting for market to come back as low as that. So we need to look out for where we can continue either the buy or we can proceed with the sell. So on this 2 hours time frame, we have the last range structure break. This is an untested area. That is also a fair value gap. So for market to come back to this our POI, it has to break this low with an impulse. It has to break it with an impulse. Until this low is broken, then we are not looking out for it to come back here. So let's go to 30 minutes time frame and see what market is currently doing, because as you can see, we are already at that point of interest here. Yeah, this is a point of interest here. So let's see what market is currently doing. We are reacting, but this reaction does not mean market is going to buy. So I'm going to go to the 10 minutes time frame and see if we have a small eye created for market to give us that change of character. So I want a break above this high. This is 10 minutes time frame. Let's have a break above this high, which is going to confirm to us that this POI is valid. A break above this high with an impulse, right? Then a little retracement. Then we can join the move from here. This market has taken proper liquidity, but taking liquidity does not mean it is going to buy. We need to have a change of character. So let's have a break above this high with impulse. We need to have that strength. Then we're going to look for a retracement and we'll look for that buy continuation. So I'm not going to advise that you join the buy here. I'm not going to advise it until this high is broken. Once this high is broken, let's see if we can get that good buy movement, okay? Because where we are reacting from is very valid. So I'm going to pick one more asset from the comments. Okay, so we have volatility 51s most mentioned, and that is the last asset I am going to be analyzing. So you guys can start dropping your questions in the comments. You should start dropping your questions about the analysis we've made so far. Start dropping your questions and I'll be willing to answer your questions. So this is 24 hours time frame for volatility 51s. Our last break of structure to the upside. However, this is not a real break of structure. It was not broken impulsively, but let's see if we have it broken with a body candle. Let's see. Okay. This was broken with a body candle, but it was not broken with an impulse. Since it is not broken with an impulse, market is most likely to come back to area of origin. So this is my first POI. My second POI. This is my second POI. My second POI. So we need to mark out the internal structure break for market to come back to that POI. Market already gave us change of character to confirm to us that we want to do that deep retracement. So this is my last internal structure break. A break to the downside. A break. Then 4 hours time frame. 4 hours time frame. This is my point of interest for these 4 hours. Here, this breaker area. This is my breaker block. We are reacting there. Market coming back to break this high is taking inducement for me. This is not a change of character to the upside, because this particular high did not properly test our real point of interest. So that's like taking inducement for me. So until market comes back and break this high, I'm not really looking out for a buy movement. So this is an inducement take. So let's go to 2 hours time frame. Two hours time frame. So let's see what we have here. I'm not seeing any buy movement here. I'm not really seeing any point of interest to buy. So I'm looking out for this sell to continue until we break this low. And we are reacting at a good POI actually, because we had our last break of structure here. I'll still mark it out on 30 minutes for you guys to see. So let's go to 30 minutes. This 2 hours is not doing justice to what I am analyzing. So 30 minutes good. So this is what I am saying on the 30 minutes time frame. This is my point of interest, my real point of interest for 30 minutes time frame. However, it is still most likely that market will not get to this point of interest, and that would only happen when this low is broken. This low is already created as our last low. So if market breaks this low, this is what I am expecting. It is still not bad market breaking this low inside this structure, because we are already at the internal structure. So it is most likely not going to come back to our sponsored candle, and that is if we have this low broken. Please take notes. And we have it broken, we can continue from here. We're going to get like 10 minutes change of character, then let's continue that sell. This is my outlook for volatility 51s. But if this low is not broken, it will come back to this sponsored candle, and once it comes back to this sponsored candle, you still have to get a change of character. So I am expecting this low to be broken, and if it is not broken, I am expecting it to come back to this sponsored candle, give us a change of character, and then we're going to continue that sell. But right now, don't enter the buy and don't enter the sell, because I am expecting this low to be broken. So that's why you should not enter the buy, and we might not break it. So we might come back to this sponsored candle, create another low on this 30 minutes time frame. We have it broken, which is a change of character. Then we are going to continue that sell movement to the downside. All right, so and that is all the analysis we're going to be doing for today on these assets. If you have any question, drop it in the comments. If you've learned something from this amazing live session, drop it in the comment section also. So I'm going to be in the comments and I'm going to answer your questions. I'm going to look at what you guys are dropping in the comment section right now. So following on the volatility 75, okay, let's go back to volatility 75. Once it does the 2 hours change of character, where should we mark? Okay, 2 hours change of character. Once this 2 hours change of character happens, this is what you will see. You will see a fair value gap. Right now, there is no fair value gap created. Once you see a fair value gap or an untested order block or an untested area, mark it out and wait for market to come back there. But right now, it has not created. You can see that every other places has been properly mitigated here. You can see that this movement that we have here is properly mitigated. So there's no area you can possibly mark out. So market still has to create that area in the process of breaking this high. Do you understand? It has to create that untested area in the process of breaking this particular high, which you're going to mark out to use as a continuation, right? I hope I answered your question. So that's that for volatility 75. Okay, please, what asset moves better? Is it 1S or the normal asset? Okay, I actually differentiated between the normal asset and the one with 1S. The one with 1S moves every 1 second. The one without 1S moves every 2 seconds. So if you want something that has volatility or that is going to move faster, it is the one that moves every 1 second. If you are someone patient, right, enough to see proper volatility in the market. It is the one with normal assets without that one S at the back of it. Do you understand? So do we have any other question from anybody? Let us answer your question. About this volatility 50, I used to believe since it need liquidity to move, volatility 50. No, we did 51s, right? We did 51s. We did not do 50 today. Okay. I used to believe since it need liquidity, breaking that low seemed to create that liquidity for it to retest back to our sponsored candle. Okay, now I understand what you're saying or where you're coming from, but that low was created as a proper, let me put it this way, that low was created as a proper structure. So once market breaks it, especially that we are inside the internal structure of area we are waiting for market to come back to, once market breaks it, it is like a change of character. Now it is most likely market breaks it and just come back and take this high again as a liquidity. No doubt, I made a video about that on my Instagram, on my TikTok, and even YouTube here. I made a video about it. However, once that low is broken, it is a show or sign of weakness. It is a sign of weakness, showcasing to us that it is most likely for us to continue that sale. Do you understand? I think we made analysis on 75 one. Okay, it was 75 we did. It was 75 we did. I'm sorry, we did not do 75 one yesterday. Most times I have observed all these pairs, they make use of FVG and dump or pump, but how can we know the right FVG to use? Okay, how do I answer your question? Now, truly there are right FVG and there are wrong FVG. Your wrong FVG are those ones created randomly out of impulse. But your right FVG, you're always going to see it around a proper point of interest. For instance, this FVG is created out of impulse. I'm not going to use any of this if I am to continue this movement. I am not going to use any of this because it was created out of impulse. But I can use this. Look at this. This is a fair value gap. I can use this. There is a proper sponsor, there's a proper point of interest close to it. I can use it. But this one was created out of the volatility in the market, out of impulse in the market. Do you understand? You're welcome, Patrick. You're absolutely welcome. All right, guys. So if we do not have any question, we're going to call it a day for this our live session. Do not always forget to join our live session every Saturdays by 9 a.m. where we break down the market, we make analysis on different assets. Do not always forget to join. Invite your friends, invite people that you know, invite your trading partners, invite anyone invitable, right? So guys, I'm going to see you guys in my next live session. Have an amazing weekend, guys. Bye, guys.